Hello, hello everybody. How are we all tonight? I have come on because I discovered a nurse on another forum called Sheena and she really grabbed my attention immediately because Sheena has a YouTube channel and Sheena has a very impressive 1.19 thousand subscribers. It's called Sheena's Guide, and so Sheena works in general practice. She, as far as I know, works full time. She clearly has loads of energy because she's got this fantastic YouTube channel, and it's a combination of kind of advice for students and overseas students, and also health promotion stuff as well. So it's absolutely fantastic. And I just wanted to get her on here and find out more what it's all about, how it started, and yeah, just get some of her energy really, hopefully through the virtual channel. Hey, fantastic. Okay, so Sheena, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you giving up your evening just to have a little chat with us. So I just was explaining that I came across you in another nurse forum, and being the nosy Parker that I am, I then went onto your YouTube channel and I was like, wow, this is incredible. So I really wanted to get you on to kind of pick your brains and sort of see you know, where it all came from. So just tell us briefly a little bit about yourself, if you would, to start with.
Okay, I'm Sheena Philips. I passed out my nursing in 1995 in India, and then from there I got married and then went into Abu Dhabi, worked there for a few years, and in 2004 I came to UK. So came to UK and worked in the admissions unit as a staff nurse. When I was doing I came with a diploma in nursing. So once I came to UK, I had two small children with me.
Wow.
But still wanted to do. My elder one was I think 3 years old, and my younger one was only a few months.
Was it London that you came to?
No, in Sunderland I came to.
You're in Sunderland.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then, but I still wanted to do my nursing, and I did my degree in nursing in Sunderland University at my own time.
Wow.
With my full-time job, because at that time you were not given any time off or anything like that.
Wow.
So I did my like in Sunderland University. At that time, you had an option of doing it in the evenings. So, so when my days off, I used to do 3 night shifts or 4 night shifts, and then used to go and do my degree nursing.
Wow.
And then finished my degree nursing as a part-time. Applied for, but always wanted to do something more than becoming a staff nurse. Wanted to do, but I really didn't know what to do at that time because there was no guidance. When I asked many people, didn't know what to do. Whether was it like a ward manager role I wanted to do, or what is something else I wanted to do. Anyway, applied for a couple of band 6's jobs. I think I applied for more than 6 or 7. Every time I got rejected, but I learned every time I did my interview. I learned something that, you know, which I learned a lot from the interviews.
Wow.
And then one of the so we used to always have appraisals from my ward manager, and I had a good rapport with my ward manager. And at that time she told me, Sheena, I think more than being a band 6 on a ward base, because you are more a clinical girl, I think you would be better off doing a clinical skill. So I said, okay, fine, I'll go into it. I didn't know what clinical skill was, so I went for the clinical skill course, and I really enjoyed it.
Wow.
And I felt that was my cup of tea. I thought that was it I wanted to. So then the first job after my clinical skill I did, and then still went on to do my staff nurse job. And first nurse practitioner job came in. I think, the first practitioner job I applied for, and I got it as a nurse practitioner.
The clinical skills course, that's physical examination?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
the physical examination.
Fantastic.
So then I got it as a nurse practitioner. So I'd worked in IAU, which is called as the admission unit, as a nurse practitioner, and then we developed a ambulatory care unit in our
Uh-huh.
Sunderland hospital, where which is called as same day emergency care.
Yeah.
We have got at that time when we started it, we had the medicine, surgery, and neurology under our umbrella, and became a nurse practitioner there, did my prescribing. So when I was a staff nurse, I wanted to start with a master's. So went and asked for a master's program. They said they don't fund for people on band 5 for a master's program. So
Okay.
my husband said, if you're really interested in that, then why don't you pay? Well, no, we take a bank loan, and why don't we go and pay through a bank loan and do
Wow.
your masters? So I thought, okay, I got a good support from my husband. And I
Oh,
thought, okay,
that's
why don't we go
amazing.
there? So Sunderland University had only like all with the research module. So there was no clinical as such. So like 40 miles away from us, no, I think it's almost a 1 hour drive away from us, we have got Teesside University, who does the master's program. And luckily I met with a tutor who was very helpful, and she said to me, why don't you pick up advanced clinical practice, and then where you can pick up your own modules, because and then you can work your way around. And that was really good, because I could
Yeah.
pick my own modules,
Yeah.
and so I started with my module. But Teesside University was very good, because they called me up, and the tutor called me up and said, Sheena, you don't have to pay for your masters. Yeah, through HNE contract, everything is free for you, because if you show that you're an employee, NHS employee. So that's how
Fantastic.
I got everything free.
Fantastic. So just, having someone to be able to kind of signpost that actually you shouldn't have to pay for that is...
Absolutely. The only problem where there was no signposting, so that made me,
Yes.
anyway, it all went through well. So during my master's program, when I was doing my master's, that's in between doing that, I applied for my nurse practitioner, and I got the nurse practitioner, and then became an ambulatory care nurse practitioner. So along with that, I was doing my master's. Then during my master's program, I met a couple of nurse practitioners who work in GP practice.
Yeah.
Got fascinated. And then in the ambulatory care, what all patients we get is all patients from GP practices also. So got to know more about GP practices. So I was really interested to it. And then I picked up modules, as my tutor said, based on GP practice. I picked up on clinical scale, advanced pathophysiology, advanced long-term conditions, women's health. So these were modules picked up when I did my master's, as well as my prescribing. And that's how I got my advanced clinical practice in master's level. And then there was a couple of more modules which I needed to do. Then I did my master's also in my own time, after my night shift, or after my 13-hour shift on my days off, because there was no time moving was given at that time also.
Sheena, you're unstoppable.
So good support from my family,
Right.
my husband, my kids. Otherwise, I could not have never done this course.
Of course, yeah. I mean, the fact that your husband was so supportive when you've got a young family, it must have made a world of difference.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, goodness, you are unstoppable, aren't you? There was something actually I saw on a forum today about someone asking about funding for training, and it is really important, isn't it? Because you might have been put off by the fact that you had to pay for it, and it was lucky that you weren't, and then you went on to discover actually there was funding there. It kind of goes to show that sometimes it does take a little bit of kind of looking around. If you really want to do something, you can find that there are pots of money here and there, which, obviously in current climate may change, but it's important to know that. So you've been in general practice now, how long?
3 years I've been in general practice. Even in general practice, I don't have any experience in community at all. My whole 25 years of experience, like 22 years of experience, was in acute medicine, in the emergency care. So when I got interested in the community, so went on to my different GPs around my area where I work, and asked them if I could get a shadowing with the practice nurses or nurse practitioners. and they were really, open-handed. They were said, "Oh, you're fine, come on." So when I did a diabetic module, even these modules were all done on my own time. I went did a diabetic module, and then on one day I go to university. The other day of my day off, I go and shadow with them. So that's how all my module, my respiratory module, my diabetic module, my everything was done. And one of the practices where I'm just employed now, the practice that's my first practice where I'm employed now. Where I went to do a shadowing there, and then they said to me, "Why don't you join here?"
Cool.
And that's how I got the Band-Aid job over there.
So that was nice because you knew them, they knew you, you knew it was a good fit. Clearly, you seem to love general practice. What do you love about it?
I love because there's lots of variety. Because I work in the general practice as a nurse practitioner as well as a practice nurse. So my morning is full of I do a triage from 8 till and then see my patients whom I have to see from 11 till 12. So that way, and the afternoon is completely like practice nursing.
Right.
So all the annual reviews, smears, and everything, women's health. So that variety, I like it. Than from the acute medicine, because in acute we only see the acute area, which I loved it. And then there is a continuity of care because I can follow up the same patients and bring them back, and you know your patients. And that's the main thing.
So talking to you in this short time, my assumption that you must be someone who's like brimming with energy is definitely true. So I wanted to know what gave you the idea to create this YouTube channel. Tell me about the start of that. How did it start?
I think when we went on to before the lockdown, we were thinking about digitalization because we were thinking about e-consult. Like I was one of the digital lead in our CCG.
I was going to say, when you say we, sorry to interrupt, you as a practice or?
No, I was one of the practitioner who was one of the lead for the CCG, Sunderland CCG. We were the few people who were trained and who were interested to go about, because this was before the lockdown.
Right.
And that time you didn't have all the some of the GPs who were not interested. They still want to see the patient face to face.
Sure.
They didn't want to go on to digitalization like e-consult or telephone consultation or video consultation. But it's totally gone off the other way around when the lockdown started. And then we were giving hand with different practices how we can go about going to digitalization, and we were finding out what things can be done. Because the one main thing what hit me was, as soon as the lockdown came up, and first lockdown came up, the smear patients were not attending for the smears and everything.
Course, yeah.
And diabetic review was getting, because you were not able to talk to them in detail and everything.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the pulmonary rehab. Things were not, because I used to also do pulmonary rehab, like explain about how deep breathing exercises and everything.
Yeah.
So it was difficult. Sending them a video of somebody else done was not that, I was not feeling that they were not getting that much. So what I thought is that, okay, I took a couple of videos about smears, and I sent that as a link, and I sent it to my patients. And I put it like, there was a box where the patients can reply back to me. And they said, "Oh, Sheena, now what?" So from 78% with the lockdowns, it dropped down to 78%. And after we did an audit, after we sent the videos, it went up to 96%.
Wow. What an incredible achievement.
It is a big, and patients who were like, during the lockdown, the immunizations were still going on, but parents were reluctant to come.
Yep.
To come give. So we wanted to give that awareness. So I made a video of that. So when these all clicked up, I thought, okay, this probably, if I make a YouTube, these videos will be there on the YouTube. So anytime they can go back and see onto that. And not only my patients, anybody who needs it can go and look into it. I don't mind. So, and then I sent videos to CCGs. They were happy. And it was, everybody
Fantastic.
liked to see it.
It's amazing.
And we have our own Facebook page, Village Surgery Facebook page. So I used to upload videos on that. So when everything came, like flu campaign came, I made a video on flu campaign, and then it was put on there. So that's how the YouTube channel came about.
It's fantastic. It's so innovative because the NHS is, let's be honest, quite behind the times when it comes to anything like that. So yeah, it's really kind of forward thinking. How do you decide what topics you're going to talk about? Is it a case of looking at, like you say, people aren't noticing, people aren't coming in for their smears as they should, so we'll talk about that? Or, you know, is it things that you like talking about? Like, how do you choose what you're going to make a video about?
Initially, I started with videos like what was according to my patient oriented, like diabetes, smears, flu, gout, because many patients you could see gout and they think that was so more of a health education. And then somebody came up and said, can you not do anything about career choices for students? And also when like we live near to the Sunderland University, and we have seen quite a few people coming in, to come in for a master's in nursing, and they were told by the agencies that, if you come and do a master's in nursing in UK, then straight away you pass your nursing, you can get a band 6 job in the hospital.
Okay.
That's really not true,
Right.
because you still have to get your IELTS or OAT or CBT. You have to get that. Unless you pass that, you won't get. But poor children, they spend £15,000 and they come over here, get this course, and which is no use. They have to go back.
Right.
So then when they told me, they said, Sheena, can you just create an awareness so that people don't come in? So that's how that topics came into.
Okay.
And my daughter is the younger one. My elder daughter is doing her nursing in Leicester.
Oh wow, amazing.
And she's doing her 3rd year, and she told me that, Mom, do you do something for nurses, student nurses, and how can they get into GP practices and everything? So that's how so it's based on the comments, what I get it, feedback, what I get it, I do it. And pharmacy is nothing for me, but I was told by somebody, can you do something for overseas for a pharmacy? So I had my pharmacist in my GP practice, who is a pharmacist from Nigeria, and how she did it. I said, can you do a video for me? So that's how she did a video for me.
And on a practical level, how do you do it? Is it just like on an iPhone? You got a fancy camera? Like, how did you know what you were doing? Did you just kind of Google how to use YouTube? And
I think that is, we used to sit and we are not a computer tech at all. So my husband has got a camera, which I give to me. He has got so he does the video and everything. We both sit together and edit the video, go on to different YouTube channels and see how they edit the videos and what they do. And that's how, so it takes a longer time for us to edit and put the things all together.
Yeah.
But that's how we do it. We're not a computer tech at all.
Wow, amazing. So, that's not his job or anything like that?
No, that's not his job. But he likes photography, and he does the video for me, and we sit together and do the editing and everything.
So he's as energetic as you are.
Without him, I would have done what?
So my next question was around who the channel is aimed at, but you've kind of covered that a little bit. It sounds like it's a sort of a mixture of patients and professionals, and perhaps people that are interested in getting into the health sector in some way.
Yeah.
So a bit of a kind of just an evolving, growing audience.
Yeah.
What do your colleagues at work think? Do they think? I imagine they must be quite impressed.
Think I'm crazy.
Do they?
They think even if I'm woken up in sleep and say, Sheena, do this, you will never say no, you will do it.
Yes, I'm getting that
and
from
I've
you.
got an amazing, I would say, like my practice manager is also same energetic person like me. So I think we both go to each other. So she's also energetic, and they think that we both go in the same shape.
Yes, peas in a pod.
Absolutely. And very good support from the GP practice. I cannot blame at all. For anything, they are there to help, for anything, a good support from them.
So are you the only nurse there?
We have 2 nurses, myself and Janie, who does with the frailty and geriatric practitioner. And I do the adult practitioner, and then I also work as a practitioner. I'm only one of the 1 practitioners.
And what's your patient list size there?
I think around about 5,200 patients. We have got a healthcare assistant, and ours is a teaching unit. So we get students coming from Sunderland Medical School, as well as from the Newcastle. And also we have got 5 GP. We have got GP registrars also comes in. So we have got 3 or 4 GP trainees. reg
Fantastic.
trainees, and we have got 2 GPs and
Fantastic.
one part-time GP also.
So I'm guessing your family must be very proud, I would imagine, especially your daughter.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, and she's not been involved in any of your videos yet.
She has been, my elder one was involved in one video, which she did it from Leicester.
Okay.
It was how to join in, how to get into nursing, what it should be, how should be your, portfolio should be, and what is your interview, how should you answer your interview questions. So one of the videos she has done.
Fantastic.
I wanted her to do more, but
Yes.
difficult.
She's like, Mom, leave me alone.
They have the loads to study and everything.
What's the best piece of advice anyone's ever given you?
Advise the other person. I think my best advice, what my dad has given me, is that follow your dream and let that dream be your signature. That's what always he tells me. And that's what I followed.
Yeah, that's really lovely advice, and it's so true. Life is, well, if we're seeing anything at the moment, is that life is fragile and short, isn't it? So yeah, go for your dreams, I think, is very, very good advice. How on earth do you keep this level of energy up? What do you do? Do you have, like, what do you do in your downtime? How do you think you're so positive and enthused and motivated to kind of think of this new stuff and do this new stuff? Where does it come from?
I think it comes from when it comes all together as a family, when everybody's involved in everything. Like, you have got your kids, you've got your husband, and everybody all together involved with housework, your day-to-day life, and even with shooting or cooking, everything, editing. It is not monotonous. You all do it as a family, and everybody loves to, and that becomes that. Then you love it. Whereas if you are the only person alone doing it, your cooking or your housework or your video, then it becomes overburdened for you.
Yes.
So that's what I like it in I would touch wood, that's what I like in my family, that we never do it alone, we do it together. And especially, and then we have our friends. I always say that, like, we don't here have our parents or family or anybody here. It's our friends who are here. And I think that has really impacted, because on a weekly basis, we used to see our friends, or, that get together was there to see. We share food. We used to go to the church and we bring food together and we share with each other. And that talk was really good, but that we missed during our lockdown.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's so weird to hear you say we used to do this, we used to do that, but that's kind of how it is now. So have you replaced that with Zoom stuff?
Meetings.
And do you do that? Yeah. What's your ultimate goal? Have you got an ultimate goal? Are you just kind of happy seeing what happens, seeing what pops up tomorrow? Is there something in the back of that buzzy mind of yours that you've got your eye on that you'd really like to achieve?
I wanted to be a GP nurse partner.
Okay, fantastic.
And I don't know how to go about it, but that's what I fancy, because I really feel like if there is a partner who is a nurse, and that makes a bit more safer environment, and I feel it is a nurse oriented, then make it culture, it would be safe, the quality would be really good, quality of everything will be more accessible, people will know what to do, and everything. That nurse will make a GP partner would make a big difference.
Good for you. I think that sounds like a fantastic way for you to go when you're giving so much of yourself to your work like that. I think it would seem only fitting that someone like you became a nurse partner. You've obviously got an enormous amount to give, not just turning up for work and going home, which is nothing wrong with that, but that sounds like a really good path for you to take. Is it something that you would want to broach with your current practice, or is it something that you think might be something that you kind of do somewhere else later on, or you don't know?
I think if I've been asked, definitely if I've been asked from a current practice, if that if I would like to become a GP partner, definitely I'll go for it. But I think at the moment I'll leave it for thing because I'm just only 3 years there. See how things are going up, and I love my practice there. I would happy to be a GP partner over there if they have been approached for.
I think perhaps, once a bit more time's elapsed, you perhaps will be doing the asking. I hope so, because it sounds like you've kind of pushed for everything that you've achieved so far in your life, and that's paid off really well. So for me, if you're interested in my opinion, then I think that's something that you should go after, not necessarily wait for, obviously, when the time is right. But like I say, I think it looks like you bring fantastic value. I think partnerships nowadays, I know nurse partners are still reasonably uncommon, aren't they? But they've definitely shown their value. And I know there are forward-thinking practices out there that have manager partners as well, practice manager partners, and it isn't just the GPs. Kind of makes sense to me, not for it to be just the GPs, because everybody comes in with a slightly different perspective. If you're a nurse, if you're a practice manager, your viewpoint is different, and you bring a different kind of value to the table, don't you? So I hope that we see more of that in the future. But hopefully once we kind of get to the other side of all this, Sheena, you'll be pushing for that. I shall love to hear that you achieve that. What have you got any regrets? That's my next question. Kind of anything that you think, I wish I hadn't done that, wish I'd done it like this.
Yes, definitely. In 2004, if I had knew what all the opportunities were available, like if I was here, I always tell my daughter, in 2004 when I came to UK, because nursing in India is totally different from nursing in UK, because in nursing in UK you have more opportunities. Right. But in 2004 I didn't have that guidance to know what I can do, what is the possibility a nurse can do apart from doing a BSc nursing, or anything else can I do? Can I become a doctor, or can I become something else? If that was known, I would have become a nurse barrister.
Wow, lovely. In fact, I think you're the second person that said that to me. Interesting. What do you think has been what's your most proudest achievement so far? Because you've achieved a lot, haven't you? Every challenge you've kind of set yourself, you've ticked it off, even if you had obstacles put in front of you. Which would you say for you, like on a kind of personal level, do you think, I did that?
The proudest moment, if you look at my family life, the proudest moment is having a husband, having a husband. Because mine is an arranged marriage.
Okay.
And still, I'm very proud of my husband, because whatever I'm doing today here, blessings of God is there. Apart from that, that's my husband and my parents and my kids who are what I'm here today. And then I've got a beautiful 2 daughters who are there, always there to support me. They're always there for me. That's from my family point of view. My in-laws, my parents, everybody very supportive. From the academic point of view, my proudest moment was when I got my master's, and then when I got my Angel of North Award.
What's that?
So with the digital, as I said, like before that, I was doing the digital nursing, promoting in Sunderland CCG, and the whole from the CCG, I was given Angel of North Digital Nurse of the Year award.
Wow, fantastic!
Which came from Bloom, and I didn't even know that I was applied, promoted, and somebody else, put my name forward, whom I don't even know who was.
How lovely!
And that's what was the proudest moment, because coming into GP practice in less than 3 years, last year I got that Angel of North Award. Yeah,
you've kind of set the world on fire there, haven't you? That's a fantastic achievement. You've mentioned, you touched on the kind of idea of hoping to become a nurse partner at some point. So what do you think about the kind of idea of nurses getting into business generally? Do you think that's, what do you feel about it?
I think that's a great idea because if you become as a nurse, you will be more patient oriented. So whatever you do, you would look at many aspects. We will look like whether is that is that really needed for the patient?
Yeah,
Is it accessible for the patient,
yeah,
or is it safe for the patient? And you do things according to that because you have got a nurse background, and
yeah,
that makes a big difference when a nurse is going into business.
yeah. I agree. That kind of moral compass, for want of a better word,
Yeah.
and yeah, actively wanting to kind of make things better. I think puts you in a really good position, and I think on the flip side as well puts you in a position of great trust. People generally,
Absolutely.
I feel, the level of trust for nurses is quite high, isn't it?
Right.
Because
Yeah, definitely.
which is something that can be a good advantage. Um, what my final question for you is: what piece of advice would you give someone today who's kind of starting out in nursing?
What I would, this is the same thing what I told to my daughter who is doing a nursing. I
Yeah,
told her is that nursing is totally different. It's not only bedside nursing. Nursing is a vast meal. You have got loads of things to there to explore. Just come out of your comfort zone. Don't become shy. I think majority of the nurses at the moment in band fives are what my friends are all who have come from loads of experience, most experience in Dubai or Muscat, and still coming and working, and because they don't want to come out of that comfort zone, and come out of your comfort zone. Follow your dreams and find out what you wanted to do. If you once time failed in the interview, that doesn't mean that the job is not for you. Go for it because I have failed 8 times in my band six interview and still went for it and I have got it. So my advice is that know what you want to know, follow your dream, and then just go out and find and go and ask and ask and ask. Then only you will find it because there's nobody is going to say, Sheena, this is what you have to do. This is there. All the things are here. No, you will not get the answer like that. You have to go and go. And there is some hard work there, unless you put on that hard work. You have to have some sleepless nights and everything. I used to get up, and I won't say that I have that everybody has to follow me, but I would say that after a full-time job, full-time mom, used to get up 3 o'clock 4 o'clock in the early morning, have a shower and do my science, sit and do my assignments and everything, and then go for work and all. So little bit of hard work, but definitely will be pay you off at the end, and you will be rewarded for that. But so come out of the comfort zone, know your dream and follow that dream.
Sheena, I love that advice, and I completely agree. I think there are so many nurses that do sit within their comfort zone because they're afraid to get out of it. Like if you're in your comfort zone because that's where you're truly happy and the rest of your life is so full that you're okay there, that's fine. But if you're in your comfort zone because you feel afraid, or like you say, you might not be good enough, you might go to an interview and not get it, you might fail an exam, then that's not right. That's the bit you need to fight against. So I think that's tremendous advice, and I think it's not about everybody needs to follow you. But I think, sometimes people can, stumble across things like your YouTube channel and think, wow, like, look at this, she's got 1.19 thousand subscribers, and not really have any understanding of all the kind of hard work and the dedication that's gone into getting to that point, and also all that you've got out of it. How it's obviously very fulfilling, and I've talked about this kind of energizing thing before. Nursing, sometimes I think you can get to a point where you feel fatigued and flat and deflated, and actually doing something positive can actually make you think it might tire you out more, but it has the opposite effect because it lifts you and it energizes you and makes you feel good, and that ignites more and more. So yeah, I absolutely think that's spot on advice. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anything else that you want to say before we drop off from here?
Nothing else. I think those who wants to come to GP practices, people have a wrong notion that you need to have loads of experience. The student nurses think that they need to have loads of. No, it is not the case. Look into it. If you need any help or any advice, please come back to me. Please email me or just post in comment. I'm all happy to help you all, because GP practices, you can straight from a scratch. You can start as a career start nurse, and you can get into the GP practice with a full payment and everything and get your training done.
Fantastic. That's really lovely offer there. Really nice to know. And obviously, I'll make sure your contact details get out there as well.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute delight interviewing you.
Thank you.
I've loved hearing your journey. I think it's incredible. I'm in awe of all your achievements, and you've got such a lovely aura about you. Your daughters must be delighted, your husband must be delighted, and your patients. So thank you for giving up your evening. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to let you go.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming and having a chat with me.
No worries. Take care, Sheena.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.